Hello everybody! I am just about to get started on a discussion of maybe the most important and the most central part of, well, central metabolism, and that is glycolysis. So this chapter is where we're going to get into our different metabolic pathways kind of for our first time. Metabolism is the total of all chemical reactions within an organism. We're going to be discussing a couple of different major metabolic pathways, those kind of centrally related to carbohydrate metabolism. Glycolysis, gluconeogenesis, pentose phosphate pathway, glycogen metabolism, and we will touch on a little bit of metabolism of other sugars. We're going to start out though with glycolysis, where we are focusing on glucose. So our major pathways in carbohydrate metabolism are displayed here. If the way that I always kind of think about it is I think about our first molecule, our storage molecule for lots of sugars. I'm not talking about bringing sugars into your body, but instead your storage molecule for sugars is known as glycogen. There's a process known as glycogenolysis. So that takes a glycogen molecule and breaks it down into individual glucose molecules. Those individual glucose molecules in one direction can be processed through the pentose phosphate pathway, displayed right here, or they can go through glycolysis right here, where they are broken down in pyruvate. Now that pyruvate molecule is going to go in a couple of different directions, one of which is it can go to produce lactate or lactic acid, or it can go through the citric acid cycle, also known as the Krebs cycle or the TCA cycle, and ultimately the electron transport system to develop, or not develop, but to generate a huge amount of this molecule right here, ATP or adenosine triphosphate. In the process, it's also going to be generating CO2 and H2O. So there's your overview, and this is basically, I guess I'd just call it a crash course of what we're going to be looking at for a little while, and the interplay of all of these things. They're all highlighted, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Glycolysis overview. This is a series of reactions that occurs in the cytoplasm of all living cells in the cytoplasm or in the cytosol. This is an anaerobic process, so no O2 required. This is going to convert glucose, a single 6-carbon sugar, so 1,6-C, that's 1X 6-carbon sugar, into 2 pyruvate molecules. So these are 2, I'm going to say 2X 3-carbon molecules. The energy captured during glycolysis is stored as 2 ATP molecules and 2 NADH. This is a 10-step process which occurs in the course of 2 different stages. Now, the overall reaction is therefore, you've got your reactants of 1 glucose, 2 ATP, adenosine diphosphate, 2 inorganic phosphates, 2 NAD+, and you're going to produce 2 pyruvate, 2 ATP, 2 NADH, 2H, and 2 water molecules. Now, like I said, this is going to take place over the course of 2 different stages. Stage 1 is where we take our glucose molecule, our 1,6-carbon sugar, and we break it down with the help of a couple of different enzymes into 2 molecules of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate and another one of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. So that glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate is kind of our midpoint. So the end of stage 1 results in the production of 2 molecules of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. Now, if you think about that name, this is 2 carbon backbone molecules with 3 carbons and 1 phosphate on them. Now, if you think about, well, where do we go from there? Our stage 2 is all of this right here. So stage 1 is taking 1 6-carbon molecule and breaking it into 2 3-carbon molecules. Stage 2 is taking 2 3-carbon molecules and processing them and making, well, 2 3-carbon molecules. So we have a number of different enzymes that take us from glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate all the way down to pyruvate, but that's where we're going with this. All right, I'll see you in the next video.